Whatever. Donald Trump now, we are apparently in this era of American history where if you give Donald Trump an expensive enough gift, he will bend over backwards to give you whatever you want, including up to and including a military base on American soil.
Do I smell a whore?
We're talking about the nation of Qatar, gutter, some people call it. And in 2017, oh, how things have changed so rapidly. Donald Trump was issuing statements indicting them, not legally, but used colloquially, indicting them for being a funder of terrorism, being a disseminator of radical Islamist ideologies that take the form of violence against the globe.
I take the threat very seriously. I take the fact that he develops weapons of mass destruction, very seriously.
In 2017, oh, how things have changed so rapidly. Donald Trump was issuing statements indicting them, not legally, but used colloquially, indicting them for being a funder of terrorism, being a disseminator of radical Islamist ideologies that take the form of violence against the globe. And oh, how things have changed, how rapidly, wild that this took this is how this has gone. Watch Donald Trump from 2017, what he had to say about the nation of Qatar, that they're now giving a military base to in my home state of Idaho. Trump from 2017, what he had to say about the nation of Qatar, that they're now giving a military base to in my home state of Idaho.
The nation of Qatar, unfortunately, has historically been a funder of terrorism at a very high level. And in the wake of that conference, nations came together and spoke to me about confronting Qatar over its behavior. So we had a decision to make. Do we take the easy road, or do we finally take a hard but necessary action? We have to stop the funding of terrorism. I decided, along with Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, our great generals and military people, the time had come to call on Qatar to end its funding. They have to end that funding and its extremist ideology.
So that is the nation we're talking about. And here's Pete Hegseth from late last week, where he's calling a member of the Qatari royal family, Your Excellency, really doing what Pete Hegseth does best, which is kiss ass, which is be a brown noser, which is to perform Republican eroticism in the way of just yearning for the boot of tyranny upon his neck. Here he is announcing that he is proud that we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Amari Air Force facility in Mountain Home, Idaho.
Just sit for my new book entitled, I Want to Be a Hoe. And then in 6 short weeks, you're not confident that you can make big money as a hoe working for me. Just send the book back for a refund. It's as simple as that.
No one other than President Trump could have achieved the peace that we believe will be a lasting peace in Gaza, and Qatar played a substantial role from the beginning, working with our folks to ensure that came about. So I want to thank you for that historic peace. We look forward to joining the President as that gets, it's already been delivered, but as that's formally signed as well. And I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Amiri Air Force facility at the Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. The location will be host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase lethality, interoperability. It's just another example of our partnership. And I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us
course.
You heard him say it. He said it with his mouth. There was no, oh, well, what he meant was, we heard the words. We're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Air Force facility at Mountain Home Air Base in Idaho. That's what he said. Now, he did come out with a tweet clarifying as though that's what he said. Oh, we need to walk this back because obviously that's a problem, that a foreign nation that only 8 years ago was being accused by the president of the United States of being a chief funder of terrorism, an exporter of violence around the world. But now we're going to give them an air base. We're going to have a foreign country who's not even really an ally have a military installation on American soil.
That's preposterous.
He tweeted this as a clarification. Important clarification, says Big Pete Hegseth. The U.S. military has a long-standing partnership with Qatar. Long-standing, or just in the last 7 years since Donald Trump accused them of terrorism, including today's announced cooperation with F-15QA aircraft. However, to be clear, Qatar will not have their own base in the United States, nor anything like a base. We control the existing base like we do with all partners. A little different than when he's being a supplicant to His Excellency, kissing the ass of a member of the Qatari royal family. We're so proud and excited to sign this letter of acceptance to give you your own military base. And when asked about this yesterday on Fox News or Fox Business, it's kind of one and the same with Maria Bartiromo, he called it fake news. Oh yeah, I've heard about this story. This is fake news. This is largely fake news. Largely's doing a lot of heavy lifting for J.D. Vance in this moment. But watch, because even the Fox News audience, even Fox News anchors and the executives, the suits at Fox News, were concerned about this development, and they had questions.
No offense.
What is the function of this Qatar facility? People are wondering, is this an air base? What is Qatar going to be developing in Idaho?
Yeah, I saw some reporting about this, Maria. I actually talked to the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, this morning. This is largely a fake story. We continue to have with countries that we work with. We have relationships where, sometimes their pilots work on our bases, sometimes that we train together, sometimes we work together in other ways. The reporting that somehow there is going to be a Qatari base on United States soil, that's just not true. We are continuing to work with a number of our Arab friends to ensure that we are able to enforce this peace, but we're not going to let a foreign country have an actual base on American soil. So there's a bit of misreporting on that, as there often is, as you know, Maria.
It's largely a fake story, says J.D. Vance, who apparently didn't see the clip of Pete Hegseth saying, I'm also proud that today we're signing a letter of acceptance to build a Qatari Air Force facility at Mountain Home Air Force Base. You're proud as you sucked up to His Excellency. You're showering him with weird monikers, and what are you doing? We know you love kings.
The living, breathing embodiment of Persian superiority. Bow if you must.
Pete Hegseth. We know you love oppression. Pete Hegseth. But is this worth it? You act like you're a steely-eyed warrior ready to deliver lethality downrange, yet you're bending over for a member of a family that has funded terrorism around the globe. Only in Trump's America is this acceptable. Only in MAGA world is this a normal operation of an administration.
I mean, if Leo did not go, I'm not worried about it. Man, say go. That wasn't an approach.
Of an administration. But it was the Democrats who don't love America. It was the Democrats who sell out the country. Gross. Dangerous, in fact. Anyway, what do you think? I would invite you to this conversation. We can have it below in the comments below the video, wherever you're watching it, whether that be Facebook or YouTube.
So it says from the first verse again from the top, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. I don't know how you guys get the great whore being the Roman Catholic institution of Vatican City. This has absolutely nothing to do with Vatican City or the Vatican City and the Roman Catholic institution. Second verse. Oh, let's go back to the first. End of the first. I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. When did he show him the vision of the judgment of the great whore? In chapter 18. The many waters represents the people. Let me just go to that. The great melting pot. Let me go down to that. And he saith unto me, 15 verse, Revelation 17 verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. America is also known as the great melting pot. When you go back to the turn of the century, when you had these different Europeans, and then you had other nations, Elamites, East Indians, Africans. This place is the great melting pot. But the start of the becoming the great melting pot was during the turn of the century. I'm talking about the 19th century going into the 20th century, which is from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. If you go to 1899 and the year 1900, that was the beginning of the 20th century. So now you should understand what the great waters represent. Second verse, Revelation 17 verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. What does it mean by fornication? Fornication, first and foremost, means adultery. Porneia, which means adultery. On a spiritual sense, the children of Israel committed fornication with some of the other nations because they were delving into their culture, into their spiritualism, into their religion. You have that to this day. You know, Jake is all fucked up in these different ways of life. You know, whether it be Kemetic, the Moors, Islam, Baptist, Methodist, Roman Catholicism, becoming a Democrat or a Republican, voting, especially for someone of another nation. It tells you that in the book of Deuteronomy. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Deuteronomy 17. I'm not going to go to it. Somebody can put it in the description box. Second verse again, Revelation 17 verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, went to bed with America. These kings of the earth, these major rulers of the earth, they're not having any dialogue with the Roman Catholic Church. They're not flocking to Vatican City.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 17, and verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7th, and goeth into perdition. I want to give all praises, honors, and glories unto Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushai, Baal Hashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to my elders, my apostles, the very millstone that do it evil well. Peace, blessings, and salutations be unto the members of the elect, the all elected, the 1/3. Shalom. This is Brother Dawadah from GMS Detroit Camp, coming at you with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushai. And today I want to go into Revelation 17, verses 10 to about verse 12. Okay? I'm going to get into this topic, and not only to this video be edifying to the Lord's elect. Alright, and I guess the Spirit's been on me lately going to some of these breakdowns, so at least certain parts of the chapter, because usually when we go to Revelation 17, we may hit like the first 5 verses. Sometimes we'll hit the 15th verse, where it speaks about the waters which thou sawest, Which, let me read it, because you may say, well, what's that talking about? Revelation 17 and 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, the whore is America, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Right, because America is known, or was known at one point as the great melting pot, because you had all nations found, not only had, but you have all nations found here in America. That's why you got Chinatown, you got certain sections where Moab is. If you go to Detroit, you go to Dearborn, Detroit specifically, you have a heavy community of Ishmaelites, all right, so-called Arabs over there, all right? And of course, within the hoods, you got Jake, you got Judah, you got Ephraim in the hood, you got Gad on the reservations, okay? You got Issachar sprinkled throughout, Then, of course, you have the rest of these nations sprinkled all across America. Okay, you got the so-called Chaldeans, you've got the so-called East Indians here, so you got all these nations found here on the soils of America, each and every last one of them. That's why it was known as a great melting pot. Okay, so what the main verse I wanted to hit is this 10th verse here on down, a few verses, all right? So a lot of times we just hit a couple points, but then one that's new into this knowledge or new to this truth, they can wonder, well, hey, what about this verse? What about this verse 3 verses above? What's that talking about? Okay, that's why it's so important to get into these breakdowns. So this is Revelation 17 and 10. And there are 7 kings. Now, is this talking about literal kings? No, it really represents kingdoms. 7 kingdoms ruled by Esau, Edom. That's who these 7 kings are. 7 kingdoms. Okay? It says, and like Elder Apostle Gabar has been saying as of late, the word kingdom means domicile of the kings, or the king, or of the king, domicile of the king. It says, and there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen. Now, what are those 5 kingdoms or empires that Esau ruled over that fell? Well, you have the Greeks, okay? You have the Greeks. You have Germania Major, Germania Minor. You have the French and the Spanish. Those are the 5 that were fallen. It says, and one is, the one that is the pagan Roman Empire, which was still empowered when this was written here by John the Revelator, also known as Apostle John, Yahushua's favorite disciple. Okay? So that's the one that is. And these 7 kings or kingdoms ruled by Esau, Edom, all 7 of them Well, just that. All 7 of them were ruled by Esau, Edom. So these are 7 kingdoms that Esau ruled over. Okay? So the 5 that were fallen once again are the Greeks. Okay? The French. The Spanish. Germania Major. Germania Minor. That's the 5 that are fallen. It says, and one was still in power during the days of John. All right, during the days of John, one empire that Esau was ruling over was still in power, which is what? The pagan Roman Empire. Okay? So that's the one that is. It says, and the other, meaning the other kingdom that the Esau Edom will rule through, all right, the other empire, as it were, or kingdom, I should rather say, is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. So what is this 7th kingdom? Well, that 7th kingdom is Great Britain. Okay, Great Britain. All right. It says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th. That's America. And is of the 7th. Why? Because America came out of Great Britain. They teach you that in their school system. America came out of Great Britain. You have the 13 original colonies, you know. So that's the 8th. Okay, the 8th is America, and is of the 7th. Why? Because America came out of Great Britain. That's why it says in the book of Jeremiah, "She that begot thee shall be sore confounded in thee." That's in the book of Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Jeremiah 50. And I think it's 12. Yeah. Jeremiah 50 and 12. Your mother, your is America. And the mother of America is, looks like a woman. The woman, she gets pregnant and she gives birth to a child, right? No, that woman is that child's parent because she came out of that woman, right? So the mother of America will be Great Britain. Why? Because America came out of Great Britain. See? Your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Yeah, even to the point where they're going to shoot missiles on America. Behold, the hindermost of the nations, that's America, shall be a wilderness. After the Lord destroys this place with the missiles and the lasers. A dry land in the desert. Right.
It's been nearly 13 months since Russia invaded the sovereign nation of Ukraine.
China's Xi Jinping arrived in Moscow within the past hour and spending 3 days in Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin.
The Pentagon spokesman saying today that a Russian fighter jet struck the propeller of a U.S. surveillance drone in international airspace.
More than 70 Chinese military aircraft have entered Taiwanese airspace over the last 24 hours.
President Biden, in one of his most definitive statements to date, moments ago making it clear the United States aid will continue to pour into Ukraine.
This assistance would provide even more artillery, armored vehicles, anti-armored systems, anti-air capabilities that have been used so effectively thus far in the battlefield by the Ukrainian warriors.
Today, the United States downed a suspected Chinese spy balloon that's been floating across the country for days.
Are you ready for World War III? The chairman of NATO's military committee says the U.S., Canadian, and European alliance is ready for a direct fight with Russia.
We're at the brink of World War III, just in case anybody doesn't know it.
And this has been an incredibly sharp wake-up call. This has been a slap to the face around the West. And what it's saying is, you ain't as safe as you think you are.